Hi, Jana.
It's a pleasure to be able to interview you today. I want to start off with asking you, why is art important to you?
Well, art's important to me because I have a career in art. I'm very interested in art, and even when I was very young, it was the very first thing that I realized that I could do on my own that was different than what everybody else could do. And so it's always been a part of me. You know, my dad was an artist, so they always had reams and reams of paper. And I mean, you could come into our house, there'd be stacks of paper, all different colors, all different kinds. And so we used that all the time. Just went out, sit out in the sun and draw pictures, draw nature. And you know, by the time we got into the first grade, it was kind of second nature to us. I come from a all-black neighborhood, and all of our school went from first to 8th grade. So all the teachers were from historically black colleges. You know, they really wanted people to know, you know, that these students were better or as equal to the other students in the other districts. I learned real early that while I was a good artist, I wasn't a great artist. And there was always this commercial that came on TV, buy artwork from the starving artist. And I was like, I never want to be a starving artist. I figured it must be another way to make money. And so I started my career learning other things in the art field.
What are some of the things that inspire you as an artist?
Well, actually what inspires me as an artist are other artists that are young, up and coming. They want to make a name for themselves and don't know how to do it. I really kind of know the business in and out. I know a lot of the major artists, white and black. I know the major galleries, the major art distributors, picture framers, appraisers. And so, you know, and I've been experienced with that for a number of years. So we're right now at a point where I want to transfer my knowledge to someone else who can also help artists emerge. And we're, you know, in a position where with the museum we can actually give shows and collect work and help artists build their own portfolios.
What does an art consultant do? Because I know that you are one, and how can that be beneficial to people in the Grand Rapids community?
Well, art consulting is just that. It's talking to clients, you're talking to artists, and you're trying to put clients together with artists to sell their artwork. You're trying to put clients and artists together with museums. But it's all the ancillary jobs that are connected to drawing, painting, sculpting, and creating art. It's really just kind of talking to people and putting people together.
What led you to start the African American Museum and Archive?
Well, as an artist and art gallery owner for years, people always came to us with things that they thought were valuable. And so we ended up starting to collect items from people who are in the community, and that was the start of our museum. So we started to just collect things just to keep them from getting thrown out, but we also collected them because some things were quite valuable. But Grand Rapids didn't have anything that represented African American art, history, and culture. One of the things that people don't realize a lot of times is that they think that everything has to be old to be valuable. You know, we got the slavery chains in here, and you know, they're probably about 100 years old. There's some African pieces that we have that are even older than that, maybe 200 or 300 years old. You have to kind of look at it in terms of time. In 1850, those slave chains were not old or collectible at all. It's kind of how you look at items and how you value them as far as part of the story that's being told, and especially with African American items and artifacts, because our work and our items are a lot of times thrown out, discarded, because people don't realize the value of them, not the monetary value, but the historical value.
Mm-hmm. Why do you think it is important to educate others on the history of African Americans in Grand Rapids?
Because our history has been so overlooked. Now that you have it all in one place, all at one time, it gives people a much broader view of African American culture. We've started with oral histories, talking with people here in town that are giving us stories and telling us about Grand Rapids in the 30s, in the 40s, and the 50s. And it takes us in different directions as far as being able to look for corresponding artifacts and documentation to prove what they told us. And so doing that, we've learned a lot more about Grand Rapids. And that's what we really feel is our calling, to tell people that they're here, this is what they've done, these are the artifacts that they've given us, and this is how they fit into a larger piece of history.
And lastly, how can my generation get involved with the museum?
We're always going to be looking for people who want to learn. It's not going to be a bunch of old people sitting on a board. We want a mixture of old and young to help guide the museum into the next few decades. I mean, we always have things for people to do. You can come down and volunteer for a day, learn to be a docent. If you like sports, you know, you can help us set up a sports counter. Or if you're into sewing or quilting, you know, we have quilting ladies that come down all the time. We do genealogy, if you're into genealogy. We also have ways that young people can help, just like everybody else, by donating money. So there's lots of things they can do.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.